been the overall takeaway through the first week or so of the season?
Well, I like our pace. Our pace is, I think, is faster. I think we're covering more ground defensively. I loved how we had, the amount of offensive rebounds, having 20 offensive rebounds last game. So trying to get our athleticism into the game. But understanding we feel there's a lot of areas we can get better at. But anytime you can, rebound offensively, that's what we're trying to do. That's really been a key for us.
You can win a game where Javian and Los both don't play at a high level. How encouraging is that?
It's really encouraging because I think coming off the bench with some guys that can come in and get double figures and are older physical guys that know what's going on instead of coming in with some guys that with less experience. So that's been good. JV and Los, they're the backbone of what we're doing. So they make everything go, and they create for others. And nobody creates for each other more than JV and Los. And so to have two guys like that being able to do those things are really good.
How much does that experience help at practice? Do they usually have good practices all the time?
I'd like to think that all the time.
The veterans, they got to know what they're doing, right?
It's exactly right. They actually, it's one of those things where I've really enjoyed these guys in practice because they go really hard. We've practiced with a lot of energy, with a lot of toughness, and we got to continue doing that as we move down the schedule. But the practices have been really competitive because we're deeper, and that just makes for so much more things that you can do. But yeah, the practice has been good.
Without asking specifics, are you starting to see guys who earn that spot in the rotation? I know at the start of the year you're saying 10, 11 guys could, get there. Are you starting to see that clarity?
It's hard to get 10, 11. Like I can see, Jalen Moore didn't play last game. We're down to, but he should be available this game. But for us, we're deeper. So early on, the rotation might be a little bit bigger. So you're just waiting and seeing. But just really confident right now of when we go to the bench. I think the bench, whoever's come in, and that's the thing as a head coach you got to be mindful of because everybody wants to start. And, we got to be mindful of that. But just to talk to them so much about make your minutes count when you come in. And I think our bench has been great. Every time the benches come in the 2 games we've played and in the scrimmages, it's been uplifted with energy, with pace, with physicality. So that's what you love from the bench. We just got to be mindful and just, hey, everybody wants to start. I get that.
If you wanted to if you had to get a great stop or you needed a series of stops, do you have a defensive unit with all these guys among that?
Yeah, we have some guys that I think, I think Latrey and Waldo have separated themselves as 2 guys, and I think Jalen and Ortega are another 2 guys that have established themselves as guys that are longer, physical, stronger defenders. So, to have 4 of them like that, yeah. I feel like that's good. And it's not to say the other ones can't, like Los and Javion, and it's not to say they can't, or any of our 5-man. It's just, Waldo was the defensive specialist at Oregon. Latrey was at Utah Valley. Ortega played that role sometimes, and he's physical enough to do that. So we got some guys that I think we can throw out a really good defensive lineup out there.
You mentioned Jalen. Any update on Caden?
He should be fine too. They both practiced about 50% yesterday, and we'll see here today. They're going to go a little bit more reps today, but I anticipate both of them be ready.
What about your matchup tomorrow?
Yeah, Texas State. When the top 3, I know it's early, but it's top 3 rebounding teams in the country. They have 41 offensive rebounds in 2 games. That's a lot. They get after you defensively. They're trying to force turnovers and run. Really well coached. This team has won that league or been in the tops of that league for 3 or 4 years now. But rebounding is at the top of the list. Transition defense, top of the list, and then being strong with the ball because they are going to try to deny every pass, get up in passing lanes. But I've just been so impressed. 41 offensive rebounds in 2 games is outstanding.
2 teams are going to try to do the same thing.
We're going to try to do the same thing. We're going to try to do the same thing. So you achieve what you emphasize. We got to block out. You got to block out in against this team. And I thought we did a good job last game, and we got to continue to do that in the glass.
I want to go back to Friday when you talk about Jacob Cole. What are those conversations like if someone is healthy, but you're going to ask them the red shirt? And is that something that you guys as a coach, like just college basketball, are you looking to try to get that rule changed to be more like football?
I was just going to say, I don't want to get myself in trouble here, but the football, that's a real good thing. You can play 4 games and kind of see how it goes, get them a feel, and 4 games out of what, 11? 12?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's
10 games for basketball.
100%. I'd love that. That'd be great. It's just, it would be a great rule for basketball, but man, if you're play 1 second, your year's over. So you just kind of want to go through a little bit and see how things are going before you just totally make that jump. So that's what those conversations are like.
You talked about Ortega's improvement in the offseason, and he's been really efficient kind of the first 2 games of the season. What has that meant for your team?
I think Ortega's playing within himself. I think Ortega he's worked so hard. He's a gym rat. He has worked so much on his shot, getting it up here, and he's worked so much on his ball handling. He's worked on finishing. You know, I was on him a lot last year. He'd drive in, and he'd throw it up and always land on the ground, and no one would touch him. I'd show him, I go, Ortega, you got to stay up on the ground 2 feet. He's finishing through contact. He's not forcing a lot. And he's made a jump, and it's great to see his hard work pay off.